This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Florida's primary election day is less than a month away. Let's meet the candidates. Rally 2020 begins now.
This original program is provided as a public service by WSRE, the League of Women Voters, and Pensacola State College.
Good evening and welcome to Rally 2020. I'm Mollye Barrows with WSRE-TV, and I will be joined this evening by Sandra Averhart with WUWF Public Media. This is the second of two nights we've been with you for Rally 2020 election coverage right here on WSRE-TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast. Rally is also being simulcast on News Radio 1620 and 92.3 FM. Primary election day is August 18th. Last night, we met the candidates running for elected office in Escambia County, the Florida House of Representatives, and U.S. Congress District 1. Tonight, you will meet the candidates from primary races in Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, as well as the candidates for a state race that impacts these counties. With me now is WUWF's Sandra Averhart.
Thank you, Molly. Tonight, the spotlight is on that race for Florida House of Representatives District 4. In Santa Rosa County races, we'll also meet the candidates for County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5, Superintendent of Schools, and School Board Districts 2 and 4. In Okaloosa County, we'll focus on the contest for Superintendent of Schools, School Board District 2, and County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5. Now, because of COVID-19 constraints, this year, WSRE has produced Rally differently than in years past. Traditionally, Rally has aired live, with candidates for each race seated side by side. In this year's primary election edition of Rally, the candidates were recorded individually, as well as your host, while observing COVID-19 precautions. This year, 51 candidates for federal, state, and local offices in Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties were invited to participate in Rally. In early July, they were provided with 2 questions prepared by the League of Women Voters. Later in the month, a total of 42 candidates came to WSRE to respond to those questions and recorded a 2-minute closing statement about their candidacy. The candidates were given up to 45 seconds to answer each of the League's 2 questions. When necessary, a warning bell sounded at 40 seconds and 3 bells indicated the time limit had been reached. Candidates were given a maximum of 2 minutes to make their closing statements. When necessary, a warning bell was sounded at 1 minute 45 seconds and 3 bells indicated the 2-minute time limit had been reached. Unlike previous editions of Rally, this year candidates did not hear the responses and statements of their opponents because they were all recorded individually and therefore did not have an opportunity to make rebuttals.
We begin tonight with the race for Santa Rosa County Commission District 1. There are 3 candidates in this closed primary race. They are all Republican. In alphabetical order, the candidates are Mr. Stacey Bryan, Mr. Sam Parker, and Mr. Geoff Ross. Again, the candidates were given 45 seconds each to answer 2 questions provided by the League of Women Voters and 2 minutes to give a final statement on their candidacy. The first question is this. The people of Santa Rosa County support impact fees associated with new developments, such as infrastructure and schools. In the past, impact fees have been authorized but have either not been collected or were suspended. If elected, what will you do about impact fees? The second question is, as Santa Rosa County continues to grow, if elected, what efforts will you take to ensure that the county's natural resources are protected from unnecessary adverse environmental impacts such as clear cutting, drilling, destruction of wetlands, and loss of wildlife habitats? We begin in alphabetical order with Mr. Stacey Bryan.
With the growth we have seen in Santa Rosa County, there is great concern on how to manage this growth. Impact fees imposed upon new growth will provide additional capital funding to expand our capacity of our current system. I will work toward getting impact fees approved for infrastructure and schools. Our current land development code should be the framework for protecting our natural resources. And beyond the LDC, our local government has to recognize the need to protect what makes this county desirable. From our peanut fields to our white sandy beaches, we have a responsibility to advocate for responsible growth while not sacrificing our natural resources.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
I'm Stacy Bryan, candidate for Santa Rosa County Commissioner, District 1. Santa Rosa County is facing unprecedented growth at an accelerated pace. With this growth comes legitimate concerns about how our county plans to manage this growth. These concerns for many Santa Rosa County residents are not being heard at the government level. We can no longer afford to have outside influences controlling our county. My background in healthcare, public service, and volunteerism shows my commitment to making sure the voices of Santa Rosa County is being heard. It is time to end cronyism and oust those that refuse to believe the citizens come before special interests. Vote Stacy Bryan, August 18th, Santa Rosa County, District 1, County Commissioner. Thank you.
That was Mr. Stacy Bryan. Now we'll hear from Mr. Sam Parker.
One of my main economic goals as County Commissioner for Santa Rosa County is to reduce our dependency on property tax. I've never voted for a property tax rate increase, and one of the things that I will continue to work on is diversification of revenue streams, which is why I support both a local option sales tax as well as a reasonable impact fee. I'll also continue working to bring new businesses to Santa Rosa County, which will create high-paying jobs for our residents. As chairman of the board in 2019, I called for a comprehensive overhaul of our land development code. And I did that for two main reasons. One was to make it more business friendly and help companies wanting to relocate to Santa Rosa County. But number two was also so that we could make sure that we had safeguards in place to protect our wetlands, protect our waterways, and other sensitive habitats that we have in Santa Rosa County. I also voted to keep the east portion of Navarre Beach in conservation in perpetuity, so that for generations to come, people will be able to go and view the beautiful, unobstructed view of the Gulf Coast. We're in a good place right now in Santa Rosa County, and we'll continue working to bring clean, renewable energy.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
It's been an honor to serve as one of your county commissioners during the past 4 years. I'm proud of the infrastructure improvements we've made, such as numerous drainage projects, building sidewalks, improving many of our parks, and this summer, we will begin construction on the largest roadway project Santa Rosa County has undertaken in over 30 years. I've made it a priority to support our sheriff, and he's been able to hire more deputies so our county will continue to be one of the safest in the state of Florida. I'm proud to have received the endorsement of the Police Benevolent Association because they recognize my commitment to supporting our law enforcement officers. I spearheaded the resolution to declare Santa Rosa County a Second Amendment sanctuary and protect your Second Amendment rights. As chairman of the board, I added prayer to the agenda for all of our committee meetings. I have never voted for a property tax rate increase, and I will continue working to decrease the county's reliance on property taxes. I'm committed to supporting our local businesses and working with our economic development partners in order to bring more high-paying jobs for Santa Rosa County residents. I'm ready to continue working on improving our infrastructure and maintaining the great quality of life we all enjoy, because I know that we have a bright future in Santa Rosa County. So I humbly ask for your vote in the election this August. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
And that was Mr. Sam Parker. Now we'll hear from Mr. Geoff Ross.
Thank you for the question regarding impact fees. As a constitutional republic, we operate under a state of laws and constitutional governance. In regards to impact fees, I support them so long as they follow state laws and statutes as written and put into law by our Florida legislature. This would include House Bill 207. The new law requires that there be a reasonable connection called a rational nexus between impact fees and the actual expenditures required as a result of the new home construction, and that the residents of these new homes or developments actually receive a benefit from the impact fees that they're going to pay. So to answer your question in regards to impact fees, I support them as long as they follow and are mandated by Florida legislative law. That's a very good question in regards to how would I protect natural resources in our environment. In regards to wetlands and environmental protections, I will ensure that we enforce and follow Florida Statute 373.421 and support the duties and office of the Environmental Commission that manages wetlands in our state and our county. Wetlands must be protected because they help prevent flooding, by holding water like a sponge, and they keep water levels from rising in rivers, like we have the Yellow River, we have the Blackwater River. And they also help to purify and filter water. And without water, we're in a problem. So I will create an environmental officer to enforce the protections of such wetlands.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
My name is Geoff Ross. I'm the retired U.S. Navy Senior Chief, and I'm also retired from the Highline Auto industry. I will make, with the votes of 2 other commissioners, positive changes in Santa Rosa County. I've spent the last 32 months on the campaign trail, meeting citizens, studying the budget, visiting county offices, attending zoning board and county commissioner meetings, and often solving problems you couldn't get fixed previously. I also rode for 82 hours on patrol with the Sheriff's Office, learning its operation. I will work for each and every one of you, regardless of your color, gender, or political affiliation. I support term limits for county commissioners, 8 years and a maximum of 2 election cycles. My priorities include infrastructure, or lack of, in our county. I will establish a 10-year infrastructure plan to fund a new bridge from U.S. Highway 98 to Navarre Beach, as the current bridge is obsolete. I will also bring together leaders to address the Garson Point Bridge toll charges, which are hampering business growth and development and impacting traffic congestion in the South End. I will also explore alternative bridge options to get northern residents to Pensacola, freeing up Woodbine Road congestion and assist hurricane evacuation. In regards to budget transparency, I will make sure there are no hidden fees, and the bottom line is to be accountable and to run a tight budget that is affordable and taxpayer friendly. I will also initiate a $100 boot allowance for our Santa Rosa County sworn deputies and recommend a reduction of the millage rate on property taxes for sworn deputies residing in our county, which will aid in recruitment and retention, which is a pay raise without raising taxes. I will also keep our taxes low and help grow small business by eliminating unnecessary obstacles that impede their ability to operate here. Small business owners are the backbone of our county, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. This is Geoff Ross. If you would like to learn more about me, my website is geoffross2020.com.
And that was Mr. Geoff Ross. And those are the candidates for Santa Rosa County Commission District 1. Next up, the race for Santa Rosa County Superintendent of Schools. There are 3 candidates in this race. All are Republican. In alphabetical order, they are Ms. Karen Barber, Mr. David Gunter, and Mr. Michael Allen Thorpe. This is a universal primary and is open to all voters. The winner will be decided in the primary. The candidates answered the following 2 questions provided by the League of Women Voters. The first question is this: how do you plan to maintain high-quality education to present and future students in the face of today's challenges? The second question is, what do you consider the most important issues facing the Santa Rosa school system? Please explain how you plan to address these issues. We begin with Ms. Karen Barber.
We have a moral obligation to provide our students with quality education regardless of the challenges. I'm responsible for the district's CARES Act application, $4 million, and we're utilizing that for iPads, laptops, high quality digital distance curriculum. We're training our teachers and our students to be adept and skilled at digital learning, whether in a brick and mortar or from a distance. So we have seniors that will be graduating next year and students taking industry certification courses. So we cannot miss a beat. We need to be there for them, be committed to quality education, and I'm the leader to lead us through those challenging times. Thank you. First, keeping students and teachers safe. I'm working with the Board of County Commissioners. They have $32 million in CARES Act dollars. So I'm at the table with leaders and we're purchasing PPE, hand washing stations, air filtration system, sanitation supplies. We also have to make sure that we improve teachers' salaries and benefits, look at all of our expenses and making sure that we're being transparent and we're being responsible with those dollars. And then managing growth. Sales of homes are going up. Children and families are coming. And so we need to sit down with community leaders, with experts. We need to have a 10 to 20 strategic plan that we can adapt over time.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I'm Karen Barber, and I'm uniquely qualified to be the next superintendent of schools for Santa Rosa County. I've been an educator for 33 years with 23 years of service in Santa Rosa. My husband, 4 children, and I moved here courtesy of the Air Force, so I understand the challenges of military life. I have a bachelor's degree in special ed, a master's in educational administration, and a doctorate degree in curriculum and instruction with an emphasis in educational management. I have experience at the pre-kindergarten through university level, and I've been a teacher and school administrator in Navarre, Gulf Breeze, Milton, Chumuckla. For the past 11 years as Director of Federal Programs, I've written grants for over $80 million of resources and support for students and teachers in every school. I've developed programs for reading in all our elementary schools, a housing program for homeless families, a support program for at-risk youth, and our district-wide STEM education program that inspires students and teachers to think critically and work collaboratively. I built partnerships with business, industry, government, and universities, and in 2012, I founded Santa Rosa Bridges Out of Poverty, a nonprofit that brings additional revenue and resources to our students and families. My decision-making approach puts students at the top, always considering what is best for each child and working with parents to ensure we're meeting the needs of each student. Our teachers and staff do invaluable work to prepare our children for a promising future. Each day, I dedicate myself to supporting their very important work and creating a culture in which each person feels supported, respected, and valued. Join me in ensuring that every student in Santa Rosa receives a first-class education, including career and technical education with industry certification. On August 18th, please cast your ballot for Karen Barber.
That was Ms. Karen Barber. Our next candidate is Mr. David Gunter.
Santa Rosa County has done a good job with the basics in education starting in elementary. So for me, we need to continue to do that. We need to continue focusing on the STEAM initiative that has been put in place, the science, technology, engineering, and arts and math. But we also need to look to the future. And when I say look to the future, we need to look at those students who aren't going to college, and we need to make sure that every student's not going to college, and it's okay that we realize that as a community. I want to see every student graduate with a diploma in one hand and an industry certification in the other, which will give them the opportunities to be successful in the future moving forward. There are two very important issues that we'll need to deal with in Santa Rosa County, both of which are related to the COVID-19 issues. With the governor's mandate to return to school in the fall, the first issue we'll deal with will be the safe and secure return to a learning environment for our students and our faculties. We'll need to make sure we're working with our local health department, using the best information to put the safety parameters in place that will keep our students, teachers, and staff safe in the learning environment. The other issue also related to COVID-19 will be the budgetary issues we'll deal with. We need to make sure we're going to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars, and through that we need to set up citizen advisory boards to make sure we're getting a good return on our investment for public education. We also need to make sure that we advocate in Tallahassee for proper funding in Santa Rosa County.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Hello, my name is David Gunter, and I want to be your candidate for Superintendent of Schools for Santa Rosa County. Running for this office will give me the opportunity to serve and give back to my community in a greater capacity. I want to ensure that all students are given an equal opportunity to be successful and that each student has a clear pathway to success. My top priorities will always be the students, the classroom teachers, the support staff, and administrators, making sure we have the best educational talent available to serve the needs of our students. Establishing pathways to success through both college and career readiness will put our students and our community in the best position for a successful future. Having successfully earned both graduate and undergraduate degrees from colleges of businesses at major universities, along with running a successful business prior to entering education, I possess the unique skill set to ensure taxpayers will see business-minded accountability and a positive return on their investment in Santa Rosa County schools. In addition to my business credentials, I have 20 years of successful experience in public education covering all levels from classroom teacher to district level administrator, where I have provided oversight for all aspects of daily school operations. I am the only candidate with proven leadership and qualifications in both business and education settings. Every student will not be attending college after they leave high school, and as a community, we must acknowledge that reality and provide honorable pathways to success for all students. We will continue to prepare college-bound students for the highest levels of success, but I also believe students should graduate with a diploma in one hand and a locally relevant industry certification in the other. By preparing students and giving them the option to enter the workforce the day after graduating, both students and the community benefit from the immediate earnings potential of a skilled workforce. That is why I'm asking you to vote for David Gunter for Superintendent of Schools for Santa Rosa County, so together we can build successful futures for all of our students.
That was Mr. David Gunter. Mr. Michael Allen Thorpe is our next candidate.
Several years ago, I noticed that we were losing some of our quality teachers, our beginning teachers. So I started a mentoring program for new teachers. The mentoring program increased our retention rate from 79% to 95%. So we must ensure quality teachers in that classroom. Secondly, we need to make sure we have a robust technology program for students across the entire school district. For students to be ready for the world of work in the future, they must experience technology at a very deep level while in our school system. We will provide that opportunity to all areas of our school district. First, COVID-19 is the most important issue we're all facing. As superintendent, I will focus much attention on making sure that our teachers and our students have the tools necessary to maintain continuity of instruction. Secondly, managing growth. As superintendent, I will come together with the Board of County Commissioners and true professionals to develop a long-range growth plan for our school district. And thirdly, having students ready for the future of work. So career and technical experiences in future-ready classrooms will be very important for our students to experience from one end of our district to all areas of our district.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I am Michael Thorpe, and I am running for a superintendent of schools in Santa Rosa County. And I want to tell you a little bit about my family and myself. I am one educator in a family of educators. My wife is a teacher at the high school level. My daughter-in-law is a teacher at the elementary school level. My daughter is student teaching now and will become a teacher soon. So I'm invested in the Santa Rosa County school system for many, many, many years to come. I have 27 years of experience in Santa Rosa County as a teacher, as a dean, as an assistant principal, as a principal, and now as a school district director. In my time as an employee in Santa Rosa County, I've been involved in a lot of firsts. I was the first web design teacher in the county. I was the first teacher in the county to develop an online grade book. I was the first principal in the county to start an aviation academy and an advanced manufacturing academy. I've led our district's professional development program, who is now nationally recognized. I'm the only principal in the history of the state of Florida that ever moved a school from a level D to a level A in one school year and maintained excellent ratings every year that I was principal. I get results. If you are looking for a superintendent that delivers on results, you're looking for Mike Thorpe. If you're looking for a politician, please do not vote for me. I am not the politician. I am the candidate that spent more time in the Santa Rosa County classroom as a teacher than any other, and I'm proud of that fact. I'm proud of what I've been able to accomplish in Santa Rosa County, and I hope to join with the citizens of Santa Rosa County and the teachers and the students to help us reach higher heights than we've ever reached in the history of the Santa Rosa County school system. I thank you for your vote. I thank you for looking into Michael Thorpe at thorpeforschools.com, and I hope you will support me on August 18th.
That was Mr. Michael Allen Thorpe, and those are your candidates for Santa Rosa County Superintendent of Schools. Rally 2020 is a candidate forum provided by WSRE as a public service to help voters get to know the candidates. Coming up later on Rally, the race for State Representative District 4. But first, we'll meet the candidates running for local offices in other Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County races. Tonight, each candidate is answering questions provided by the League of Women Voters. And just a reminder that due to COVID-19, this rally program is not the usual live forum we've had in years past. The candidates pre-recorded their responses individually, among other precautions against the coronavirus, and therefore they did not have the opportunity to make any rebuttals. We turn now to the race for Santa Rosa County Commission District 3. There are 5 candidates in this race, which is a closed primary. All the candidates are Republican. In alphabetical order, the candidates are Mr. Ryan Adkins, Mr. James Calkins, Mr. Jerry Couey, Mr. Don Salter, and Mr. Gage Schlegel. Mr. Calkins and Mr. Salter are not attending Rally. These are the questions answered by the other candidates. The first question is this. The people of Santa Rosa County support impact fees associated with new developments such as infrastructure and schools. In the past, impact fees have been authorized but have either not been collected or were suspended. If elected, what will you do about impact fees? The second question is, as Santa Rosa County continues to grow, if elected, what efforts will you take to ensure that the county's natural resources are protected from unnecessary adverse environmental impacts such as clear cutting, drilling, destruction of wetlands, and loss of wildlife habitats? We begin with Mr. Ryan Adkins.
We need impact fees in Santa Rosa County. The roads, drainage, sewage systems, and schools are impacted in those areas. With all the new building development and growth, that's continually happening. In order to fix our county infrastructure problems, we have to start collecting impact fees and comply with concurrency management. And the only way to do that is to start collecting now. Laws, codes, and ordinance have to be adhered to and enforced in order to protect Santa Rosa County's natural resources. A certain amount of trees should be left per acreage and lot size to help prevent flooding and for wildlife use. Also, wetlands and wildlife habitats need to be preserved and protected. Maybe imposing stiffer penalties will help prevent the destroying of our county environment.
And that concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Public safety, infrastructure, jobs, and compliance with concurrency management, laws, codes, and ordinance are my priorities. Roads will need widened where a lot of the growth is occurring. Also, a lot of dirt roads need to be paved because our prior commissioners made that promise to some residents years ago, and they are deserving taxpayers. What I can't really figure out is why so many people are moving here when we don't have the jobs to support them. We need to get more businesses here and at the industrial parks providing full-time employment and decent wages to support our residents. Otherwise, some of these homes being built will just get foreclosed. We have to achieve a balance in our county to sustain and prosper, or businesses will close doors, homes will sit vacant, and revenue will decrease. In life, there will always be growing pains and lessons learned, such as with the approval of so many homes and subdivision permits. The roads, drainage, and sewage systems are impacted in those areas. The county has a lot of assets that could be sold along with tightening our belt and consolidating to help fix our infrastructure. Also, overpriced contracts and equipment is another issue that needs addressed. A lot of waste that nobody wants to admit, and people take advantage of one another. We have to live within our means. We have to manage, budget, plan, and prioritize better. I have the qualifications, experience, and commitment to help improve our county, and this is why I'm running for the people as your next county commissioner for District 3. If we unite and work together, just think how great we can make it here for all. Thank you, and God bless.
That was Mr. Ryan Adkins. Our next candidate is Mr. Jerry Couey.
I'm asking the citizens of Santa Rosa County to vote for me, and I'm supposed to be their representative. I have listened carefully to our citizens, and they are certainly in favor of impact fees. It is my belief that we need to change our methodology. It should be a charge per square foot rather than a fixed price, because my fear is that we're going to hurt our affordable housing throughout our area. The other thing that's important that I want to say with this is the impact fees is just part of where we need to go. We need to take the tax dollars that we have now and move those into infrastructure to continue building and investing as we have the money. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without clean water, we have nothing. We will not have economic development, and we won't have a tax base. One of the first things that I will do is start a watershed protection committee so that we get the group of experts throughout Santa Rosa County to give us guidance on our policies. It's also important that we work on our land development code, and I want to say that I have been a champion of open government for many years in Santa Rosa County. And when we have discussions about the land development code, it's going to be done at recorded meetings with a microphone on so that you, the citizens, can participate and see how the process is going.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Hello, Santa Rosa County. My name is Jerry Couey, and I'm a candidate for County Commissioner District 3. This is a county-wide vote. Folks, actions speak louder than words. For the last 20 years, I have been your county watchdog. For the last 20 years, I have fought against higher taxes. And for the last 20 years, I've made sure that your government has been open and accessible to you. If elected, I will focus on two main priorities, that is public safety and infrastructure. It is ultimately important that we support our law enforcement, our firefighters, and our first responders in a way that will keep you safe. And secondly, we must invest in infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, this year is the largest budget in the Santa Rosa County history, yet we don't see very many improvements in our infrastructure. My focus will be roads, ditches, and drainage, and I think we should learn to live within our means. I want to share with you that I am now retired and I'm financially independent. I don't owe anyone any favors. And the only special interest that I'm going to work for is you, the citizens of Santa Rosa County. I also want you to know that I clearly understand that you are my boss, and it will be my pleasure to serve you. On August the 18th, I would appreciate your vote in support for Jerry Couey, County Commissioner, District 3. And if you would like to read more about our campaign, please go to COUEY2020.com. Thank you.
And that was Mr. Jerry Couey. Our next candidate is Mr. Gage Schlegel.
Absolutely, I'm for them. Impact fees are a way for local governments to require new developments to pay their fair share of infrastructure costs they impose on the community. That being said, I do believe they should go off a square footage basis. If you build more, you pay more, and so forth. I also believe there should be a first-time home buyer credit, because all homes being built aren't being bought by first-time homeowners. I love our environment. I've used many parts of it all the way from the Gulf down in Navarre, up through the Blackwater River and the Blackwater State Forest. We have a very diverse county, and I plan to protect it all. I will make sure I work my hardest with federal and state legislators to do my job as your next commissioner and protect all the wetlands, forests, and waters, and make sure we get the grants and funding to protect all of these, so our tourism also stays as great as it can be.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank WSRE and the League of Women Voters for this opportunity they presented me today. I'm Gage Schlegel. I want to be your next commissioner. I plan to work for you by getting our infrastructure in the places it deserves to be and no longer put on the back burner. I will provide traffic solutions and fix drainage issues swiftly. I will work with our County Economic Development Director to do everything in my power to bring back great paying jobs to our community and also fill our industrial parks. I also intend to donate half of my first year's salary to different parks, charities, and recreation throughout the community because I love Santa Rosa County. Please consider me on August 18th, and thanks to everyone for your continued support.
And that was Mr. Gage Schlegel, and those are the candidates for Santa Rosa County Commission District 3. When we come back, we'll introduce the candidates for Santa Rosa County School Board District 2. Join us right after this short break.
There are 3 ways to cast a ballot in Santa Rosa County: by mail, early voting, or at your precinct on Election Day. To vote by mail, contact the Santa Rosa County Supervisor of Elections office by phone, mail, fax, or email. Ballots must reach the Supervisor of Elections office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting takes place from Monday, August 3rd through Saturday, August 15th in Milton, Pace, and at 2 locations in the greater Gulf Breeze area. Early voting hours each day are 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. On the day of the primary election, Tuesday, August 18th, voting takes place from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. You must vote in the precinct in which you live and are registered, and be sure to bring your photo and signature ID with you.
Welcome back to Rally 2020. Tonight, we've heard from candidates for Santa Rosa County Commission Districts 1 and 3, as well as school superintendent. It's now time to meet the candidates for Santa Rosa County School Board District 2. There are 2 candidates in this contest. This is a nonpartisan race and is open to all voters. In alphabetical order, the candidates are Miss Elizabeth Hewey and Mr. Clifton Buddy Hinote. The questions provided to them by the League of Women Voters are: if elected, what will be your top priorities during your term? And our next question is: How do you plan to pursue adequate funds to maintain a high-quality education by addressing teacher recruitment and retention, classroom supplies, and student support personnel such as nurses, counselors, social workers, and resource officers? We begin with Ms. Hewey.
Teacher pay. Florida has dropped to 46th in the nation, and Santa Rosa County is on the low end of that scale. We must attract and retain our best teachers. Academic performance. In 2014, our district was ranked 3rd in the state. We want to regain that top 5 ranking by developing learning opportunities in workforce development and higher education so that our students can fulfill individual potential successfully. Salaries need to be top priorities in our budgeting process. As good stewards, we need fiscal tracking and quarterly reports so that current funds can be better utilized. Example, school supplies. In the past, we've tapped up to 1/3 of our budget. Returning monies to teachers would boost morale and improve classrooms. Also, I propose monthly topic workshops to gather new ideas, lobbying strategies, and collaborative community partnerships. Example, SRO funding.
And that concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I'm Elizabeth Hewey. I knocked on doors listening to Santa Rosa County residents, and I was the first candidate for school board to meet the petition requirement with 1,326 qualified. Also, I am honored to be endorsed by the Santa Rosa Professional Educators, SRPE. Teachers are the gold standard. I have been a high school teacher, a division director in 2 community colleges, Greenville Tech and PJC, and a vice president of research and market development. In 2016, I graduated with a master's degree in accounting and a BSBA from UWF. My BA degree in secondary education is from Western Michigan University. I want to improve students' lives by providing pathways to workforce development and higher education. My skills on both sides of the desk will help the school board lead. Key district challenges are overcrowded schools and aging technology in classrooms. Teacher pay is a critical issue. Budget transparency. Citizens want to know how the district is spending taxpayer monies. With my background in accounting, I can help. Santa Rosa County has changed. We need new strategic ideas, updated skills, and collaborative partnerships. August 18th, invest in students. Vote Elizabeth Hewey for Santa Rosa County School Board, endorsed by the Santa Rosa Professional Educators, SRPE.
That was Miss Elizabeth Hewey. Now let's hear from Mr. Clifton Buddy Hinote.
My priorities are to be physically conservative and responsible regarding taxpayer dollars. Number 2, to address through a strategic plan the challenges that are presented by growth in our area by constructing schools in high growth areas. To implore the state legislature to increase teacher salaries on all levels, to reduce mandates that require so much of a teacher's time and focus. teachers must be given time to teach. And considering the current pandemic, it is imperative that we serve all citizens by protecting our greatest resource, our students, our teachers, and staff. And I am committed to doing so. Funding is always and always will be an issue for public education. As a member of the school board, I'll take a three-pronged approach to securing funding. First, I will collaborate with our local legislative delegation to express my concerns regarding proposed legislation affecting funding. I'll ask for a reduction in unfunded and partially funded mandates that are imposed upon the district. I will ask the district to continue to apply for local, state, and federal grants to hopefully bolster our funding for various programs you have mentioned. Lastly, I believe we are to be conservative in our approach to spending to make sure we are in a stable financial position to provide adequate funding.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
First, let me thank the citizens of Santa Rosa County for the opportunity you have afforded me to serve in the capacity of a school board member. I made the decision to run again because of the fact I want to give back to a district that I truly love. So I am Clifton Buddy Hinote, and I offer myself as a candidate for re-election. I'm an educator who has served as a teacher, an administrator, and a current board member for the past 41 years in Santa Rosa County. And think about the value of that experience as we move forward in the uncharted territory due to COVID-19. I understand education from the classroom to the boardroom. And my experience allows me to understand the complex issues we face and to make critical decisions affecting our students. Why do I want to continue as a board member? It's simple. As an educator, I understand the value of a quality education, but it is my passion for children's success that drives me hard to give back to my community. Vote for experience and passion. Vote to re-elect Clifton Buddy Hinote, Santa Rosa County School Board, District 2. Thank you for your support.
That was Mr. Clifton Buddy Hinote, and those are the candidates for Santa Rosa School Board District 2. Still ahead tonight, the primary races for Okaloosa County and the candidates for Florida House of Representatives District 4. Now we focus on the race for Santa Rosa County Commission District 5. There are two candidates in this race, and both are Republican. This is a universal primary and is open to all voters. The winner of this contest will be decided in the primary. Here are the candidates in alphabetical order. Mr. Randall Lane Lynchard and Mr. Colten Wright. They were asked to answer the following questions. The people of Santa Rosa County support impact fees associated with new developments, such as infrastructure and schools. In the past, impact fees have been authorized, but have either not been collected or were suspended. If elected, what will you do about impact fees? The second question is, as Santa Rosa County continues to grow, if elected, what efforts will you take to ensure that the county's natural resources are protected from unnecessary adverse environmental impacts, such as clear cutting, drilling, destruction of wetlands, and loss of wildlife habitats? We start with Mr. Randall Lane Lynchard.
My board implemented impact fees for education earlier this year. The building industry has filed a lawsuit over that. We completed a study for transportation and law enforcement impact fees, and I think those are going to be implemented in August. At the rate Santa Rosa County is growing, I don't think a reasonable impact fee would hurt our county or the affordability of housing. Our property taxes are among the lowest in the state. We have to have growth pay for itself. People vote with their feet, and they've been flocking to Santa Rosa County for the last 20 years. We have a lot to offer as a county, from farmland in the north to beaches in the south. Our quality of life is what draws people in, and it will continue to do so. Most people don't realize that 39% of the land in Santa Rosa County, over 250,000 acres, is in some form of conservation already. Only 10 Florida counties have a higher percentage of land in conservation. We've worked with the Navy and the state to protect some 8,000 acres around Whiting Field, providing a buffer for the base and preventing development on that property. We're currently rewriting the Land Development Code, and we're going to have stronger protections for wetlands, for trees, and sensitive lands. I've worked for years to protect our bays, the Sound, and the rivers in Santa Rosa County, and I'll continue to do so. We have to protect and preserve our environment for future generations.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Good evening. I'm Lane Lynchard, and I'm your current District 5 County Commissioner. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share some of my ideas and visions for Santa Rosa County. I grew up in Milton and graduated from Milton High School. I have a bachelor's degree in finance and received my law degree from Samford University. After law school, I received a Master of Laws in Taxation from the University of Florida. I've practiced law for 22 years, the past 20 years in Navarre. My wife Lori and I live in Tiger Point with our son Brian, who attends Gulf Breeze High. Elections aren't just about the next 4 years. They're about the opportunities that our children and grandchildren will have. I want Santa Rosa County to be a place my son can return to after college, to build a career and have a good life. These are unique times facing our county and country. We need experienced, successful leadership in Santa Rosa County, and that's what I offer. The challenges we face as a result of the COVID-19 shutdown will not be easy to solve. I have the background, education, and experience to provide effective leadership for Santa Rosa County on day one. My work on the Restore Act over the past 10 years has positioned Santa Rosa for success in protecting our environment and improving our water quality for decades to come. I grew up in Milton, live in Gulf Breeze, and work in Navarre. I recognize the varying needs and concerns of the north and south ends of the county. Where are we as a county? We have the lowest per capita county expenditures in the state. Our median income grew 22% in the last decade, compared to 12% for the state. Before COVID, our unemployment was among the lowest in the state. We'll get back there. I've worked to bring common sense to our budget, to growth and development issues, and quality of life issues, and I'm still focused on that. It has been a great honor and privilege to serve you, the citizens of Santa Rosa County, and I ask for your support and your vote on August 18th.
That was Mr. Randall Lane Lynchard. Now we'll hear from Mr. Colten Wright.
Well, thank you for the question. First, let me say that as your county commissioner, I will be accessible and I will listen to you. It's clear that our county commissioners have not been listening for a long time. Reasonable impact fees need to be enacted very soon to properly fund our growth and infrastructure. We need to make sure our budget is stable and using diversity in revenue sources so that we're looking at sales tax, property tax, and impact fees. And I believe it's important to remember that our county commission, including my opponent, voted against impact fees 3 times since 2009. And folks, that short-sighted decision is why we're in the problem we're in now. This is another issue where there's a clear difference between myself and my opponent. Groups such as Save Our Soundside and many others have been pleading for changes to the Land Development Code and better enforcement for years now. We need to protect our natural resources for future generations. We need to work to make sure that we have responsible development in a way that avoids clear cutting. We need to make sure that we're preventing erosion and preventing damage to our waterways. And one of the big issues for our peninsula is to make sure we get off of septic systems and stop releasing treated effluent into our bay, our river, and Santa Rosa Sound.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Thank you to WSRE and the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak to the great people of Santa Rosa County. Folks, I'm not a wealthy man. I'm not a career politician. I'm just an average guy who works hard and cares about my community. I've lived in Santa Rosa County for 30 years. My wife Regina and I have owned a successful small business in Gulf Breeze for more than 16 years. I've been blessed with two amazing daughters, Reagan and Paige. And my time operating a small business has mirrored the same challenges that our county is experiencing. For 16 years, my business has grown year over year, just like Santa Rosa County. I know what it's like to struggle to make payroll. I know how to create an annual budget and stick to it. I know how to react and manage in a time of crisis. And most of all, I know how to plan for the future. I know the citizens are tired of flooding, frustrated by crowded roads. I know the citizens feel like no one is listening to them. I know this because I've met with thousands of you and I've heard your concerns. I've given my phone number to everyone that I've met. Call me, I will call you back. You have a clear choice in this race. Do the same thing we've done for years, 12 of them to be exact, or make a bold move for change. It's not time for steady. Our county is a great place to live, but we have some serious issues that must be addressed. Now is the time for bold leadership and someone who isn't afraid to make the tough decisions. You deserve a commissioner who is engaged and accessible. You deserve someone who is willing to put in the time and energy to actually get things done. I'm working to improve Santa Rosa County for my children and yours. I'm Colten Wright, and I'm asking for your vote on August 18th.
That was Mr. Colten Wright, and those are the candidates for Santa Rosa County Commission District 5. Before we turn our attention to Okaloosa County, our final race tonight in Santa Rosa County is for School Board District 4. There are two candidates in this nonpartisan race, and it will be open to all voters. The candidates are, in alphabetical order, Mr. Charles Elliott and Miss Felicia Fortune Northcutt. Here are the questions provided to the candidates by the League of Women Voters. If elected, what will be your top priorities during your term? And our second question, how do you plan to pursue adequate funds to maintain a high-quality education by addressing teacher recruitment and retention, classroom supplies, and student support personnel such as nurses, counselors, social workers, and resource officers? We begin with Mr. Charles Elliott.
First of all, Santa Rosa County, we're the best schools in Northwest Florida. When I'm elected as your school board member, I would like to keep our schools at the best they can be, working together with teachers, parents, to ensure each student has been given the best educational opportunities, not only just today, but in days ahead. If they decide not to go to college, we have a very high schools that they can take it to be into the workforce, that they can go in our vocational schools in 3 months. They can have a certificate that they can come out of there and do whatever they like to be. Thank you so very much. Funding is about accountability. When I become your school board member, I would like to form a committee to form with employees, community, district leaders, school board members to review $300 million budget to ensure that they are properly dispersed, that they benefit everyone in the school system.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I've been here in Santa Rosa County all my life. I graduated from Milton High School in 1980. I married my wife. We've been married 39 years, got 2 children, 4 grandchildren. We attend Pace Assembly of God Church. Some of you might know me at Pace Water System. I was on the board for 8 years, being their treasurer. Some of you might know me at the funeral home. I've been in the funeral home business for 26 years. Some of you might even know me at the T-ball field. I've been a T-ball umpire for over 20 years. Carried the football chains on the Friday night football. As being elected as your county board member, I tell you one thing I will do. I will call you back. And if you have a question, I promise you, I will find out the answer, and make sure I call you back. I want to be your voice. And by being your voice, I want to make sure that your election is sure. And I promise you one thing. I can give you 3 points in my election. I will be honest, integrity, and common sense. I want to not only speak for my children and my grandchildren, but I want to speak for you and your grandchildren. So I asked you, August the 18th, vote Charles Elliott, School Board Representative, District 4. Thank you so very much, and God bless.
That was Mr. Charles Elliott. Now we'll hear from Miss Felicia Fortune Northcutt.
The budget to me is the most important priority that I have because it drives everything that I want to accomplish while I'm in office. It will be dramatically cut because of COVID-19, so that's an issue we'll have to deal with. I would like to have open lines of communication from the top to the bottom so everybody understands what we're dealing with the budget. And if we can't do what we'd like to do, why we can't do that. I would like teacher benefits to be increased, to be on the level with the other area schools. I would like laptops for our children, as they do in Escambia County. And the mental health program is very important to me. I'd like to be able to address the issues that our children have in today's world. I'd like to learn how the district currently uses the money we're allocated from the state and use that knowledge to determine how we can best use that money. I will work with our local legislative delegation to plead our case to have adequate funding for our school system. Teachers in our area do apply for grants. I would like for the district to help pursue and apply for those grants. Now I also would like to ask other entities in our area to share the cost of some of those support issues or support personnel, such as mental health, hospital help with nursing. Currently, the Sheriff's Department does split the cost of our SROs, and I would like that to continue.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about myself today. I am Felicia Fortune Northcutt, and I'm running for the Santa Rosa County School Board District 4. My husband Steve and I have 2 children, Jenna Hughes and her husband Eddie, and our grandson Hudson Hughes. Jenna started her career at Navarre High School. She's now a guidance counselor at Pace High School. Eddie was an athletic trainer with Andrews and worked at Gulf Breeze High until he went back to school to be a physician's assistant. Our son Chad is deceased. I'm blessed to have my parents Ed and Ruthie Fortune living nearby and in good health. I have an AA in business, a BA in communication arts public relations, and a master's in business administration. I worked at the Florida Department of HRS with aid to families with dependent children and the Overpayment Fraud and Recoupment Division, in which I represented the state in mediation. Worked at the Security Department at Gulf Power. I was an adjunct professor at PJC, now PSC, teaching Introduction to Business, Marketing, and Business Law. As a licensed nursing home administrator, I opened Sandy Ridge Care Center in Milton. I'm a licensed insurance agent and a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker Realty. Community involvement over the years included serving on the Board of Trustees for PJC, the Santa Rosa Medical Center Women's Advisory Council, Pace High School and Lock and Votech Advisory Council, currently on the Powerful Women of the Gulf Coast, Pace Rotary, the Pace Chamber of Commerce, Santa Rosa Chamber of Commerce, and the Greater Navarre Area Chamber of Commerce. My focus as a school board member will be on providing a quality education for our students to prepare them for successful, productive lives. We need to offer classes that teach our children both life skills and job skills. I want to create an environment to keep our quality teachers and staff, as well as to attract top-notch teachers. Better benefits and wages should be provided. I would like a mental health program that helps our students deal with the issues they face today, such as peer pressure, bullying, drug abuse, and suicide. Please remember me on August 18th, Felicia Fortune Northcutt. Thank you.
That was Miss Felicia Fortune Northcutt, and those are our candidates for Santa Rosa County School Board District 4. Stay with us. The primary races in Okaloosa County are straight ahead.
Welcome to this year's rally, presented by WSRE-TV. I'm Jane Spruill, President of the Pensacola Bay Area League of Women Voters. For over 30 years, our local leagues have provided the candidate questions for events like this forum. The league supports democracy, which is designed for active participation in government. Being an informed voter is an important way to support democracy. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization, which means we do not support nor oppose parties or candidates. This year, more than 700 league chapters across the country celebrate the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. At the same time, the League of Women Voters was organized. The League has continued to work these 100 years to understand policy issues and to encourage active and informed citizens to participate in government by voting. This rally is one way to make accurate and nonpartisan information available to voters. We also provide a guide to understanding the amendments and other ballot issues. We invite women and men to our public events or to join the local league as a member. Please refer to the contact information listed here on your screen to learn more. The Pensacola Bay Area League of Women Voters appreciates your efforts to be an informed voter.
Welcome back, and thank you again for joining us tonight for WSRE's Rally 2020. Primary Election Day is coming up August 18th. Over the past 2 nights, we've heard from candidates in the race for U.S. Congress District 1, as well as contests in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, and the state races that impact those counties. If you're just tuning in, we'd like to mention that Rally 2020 is different this year because of COVID-19 restrictions. In years past, candidates attended Rally together for a live question and answer session, but this year we had the candidates and the hosts take precautions, including pre-recording their answers to 2 questions provided by the League of Women Voters and giving a 2-minute final statement about their candidacy. Now let's meet the candidates running for office in Okaloosa County, starting with the race for Okaloosa County Commission District 1. There are 3 candidates and all are Republican. This universal primary is open to all voters and the race will be decided in the primary. Your candidates are, in alphabetical order, Mr. Wayne Richard Harris, Mr. Paul Mixon, and Mr. James Walker. These are the questions provided to them by the League of Women Voters. In light of COVID-19 cases, since Phase 2 of the reopening commenced, what specific measures do you support to ensure public safety going forward? Please address the county response to businesses that flaunt social distancing rules, the plan for hospital beds if we exceed capacity, and expansion of broadband access for all students if school cannot resume for the fall semester. The next question is, county sewage lift stations are failing at an alarming rate, resulting in rising bacteria levels in our bays and bayous. What is your plan to address this problem? Would you support using some of half-cent sales tax revenue to replace the lift stations? Why or why not? Be specific. We begin with Mr. Wayne Richard Harris.
Thank you. It's a great question, and I think it's important we understand that at first there's a personal responsibility that we all have to protect ourselves and to protect our family and protect others. Secondly, I think some of the things that the county took and maybe even the state took, to me, were appropriate. However, on the other side of that, I think it's kind of a bittersweet pill, and that is I think some of them bent the Constitution a little bit. I don't see us going anywhere stronger than what we are. I think if we do, we're going to hurt our economy, and I think hurting our economy is just as dangerous to some degree as the COVID-19. As far as schools, I think we're going to have to figure out a way to teach kids and not have a lot of the issues that we have with COVID-19 being present. Broadbanding is going to have to be. I'll address the latter first. Absolutely, we need to use whatever means possible to stop the E. coli presence in our bays and waterways and estuaries. I think it's imperative for our health and the health of our visitors here to Okaloosa County. But I think more importantly, I think we're going to have to get a handle, the county is going to have to get a handle on all of our aging infrastructure. It's been allowed to go bad for many, many years. And I think it's time that we start putting money where we need to be putting the money.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Hi, I'm Wayne Harris, and I'm running for Okaloosa County Commissioner, District 1. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been married to my bride for 41 years. We have 3 children, grown, successful adults. We have 6 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. I spent 27 years of my life in the United States Air Force. I've owned 6 businesses, 2 of which I'm operating currently, and also spent 15 years as the Chief Executive Officer for the Crestview Area Chamber of Commerce. And I'm running because of a passion that I have for what I've always lived by, which is you can make excuses or you can make a difference. In my Air Force career, at the Chamber, and my businesses, I always believe you should make a difference in whatever you do. I've raised my children to believe that as well. I believe what I bring to the table is a lot more than others is my experience. I've spent 8 years as a county commissioner during some troubling times, and it's my leadership and my experience that will bring us through this very, very treacherous time of COVID-19. What you need now is experience and leadership and maturity as opposed to anything other than that. I'm very proud of my results. It's very result driven, and I think with the experience that I have, it's going to be even more result driven in the future. There's no learning curve for me. As soon as I am sworn in, that's it. I'm ready to hit the road running, and I think it's imperative that with all the stuff that's going on, with the questions that you mentioned before, and those things, I think it's important that you not have a learning curve. You need to jump into this full feet and full throttle and move forward with your experiences. I'm very proud of 2 things. I'm proud of the fact that Emerald Coast Association of Realtors, has endorsed me, and I'm also proud of the Burnett Harmon Wood Community Resource Center has also endorsed me. I'm Wayne Harris, and I'm running for Okaloosa County Commission District 1, and I would ask for your vote on August 18th or before. Thank you.
That was Mr. Wayne Richard Harris. Our next candidate is Mr. Paul Mixon.
Well, the first specific measure is common sense. Stay home when you're sick. Wash your hands as you've been taught since you were a child. Isolate for the appropriate amount of time that's been given. Much medical research has gone into the issue of masks, and I know that it's an active debate, but overall they're agreeing and saying, wear a mask. Keep yourself protected. If school continues on in Okaloosa County, we're set to start back August 11th, and as we see that, my wife and I have 7 kids in the home, so we're staying up to date on this. With the amount of technology that's needed, yes, we're expanding, but it seems the school district and the local government is doing a wonderful job of bringing us back there. The hospitals are tremendously working as much as they can to provide for ways to cover. Well, the Daily News recorded that Florida sewage systems have leaked enough human waste to fill 2,400 Olympic-sized swimming pools in the last 10 years. But in Okaloosa County, we've not. Actually, we have a great water and sewer department that's doing wonderful work. We have 155 lift stations, upgrading 4 stations every year. In the past 2 years, we've had 2 failures equalizing 1,000 gallons, but in the same 2 years, we've processed 5.5 billion gallons of sewage. Our water and sewer department is bar none. They're doing a wonderful job. Would I support the half-cent sales tax to help with some of the lift stations? Yes, but the priorities on the half-cent sales tax must remain public safety communication, giving us safe roadways and infrastructure, and helping with the stormwater and sewage system.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
We have just a few weeks left in this primary, and you, the voter, will be making some important choices. Choices about the future of Okaloosa County and the direction for our community. I believe it's important that we move forward in Okaloosa with an eye toward the present and towards the future. We don't need to be thinking too much about the past. Yes, we can learn from the past, but we need to be thinking about the future and who is best to lead us in the present and who is going to take us into the future. I want Okaloosa County to continue to be a community that we can believe in, a place where people trust each other, a place where people trust the local government, and a place where we pull together for the greater good of our community in which we love, a place where our children can get a job and raise their families in an environment that still honors the Panhandle values that we love: faith, freedom, a respect for our country, and a respect for each other. With 16 years in local law enforcement in Okaloosa County and 10 years in the ministry here in our area, I have the experience that it takes. I have the love for our community. I'm Paul Mixon, and I would love for you to vote for me on August 18th or before for Okaloosa County Commission.
That was Mr. Paul Mixon. Now we'll hear from Mr. James Walker.
As far as the businesses that are not wearing the mask, I think that comes to more of if it's a personal choice. If you walk into an establishment and you think they should be wearing masks and you're not comfortable with it, you have that choice of walking back out. On the hospital beds, I know that some of the hospitals have extended their ICUs for that problem. If it gets any worse, I think we could look towards our military to maybe help us out. And of course, we have a conference center and some other public places that we could possibly go to in that case. On the broadband, I personally think that the company we have now does a good job with what they have. Yes, we do have aging lift stations in the county, and I'm not sure whether they are just being repaired, but everything mechanical has an age on it where they need to be replaced. As far as the funding of a budget of $430 million, I think that we could find the money in the budget to repair or replace all these systems. I do not support using the money off the half-cent sales tax because that money has already been allotted to go to other things when it was voted on.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
My name's James Walker. I am running for Okaloosa County Commissioner, District 1. I'd like to say I am self-funded. I have not taken a penny from anybody for contributions to run in this race. I'm looking to work for everybody in the county equally and fairly. I have been more involved in the local government. I have spent 3.5 years on the Okaloosa County Board of Mechanical Competency. I have been in this race since October of last year, out shaking hands, meeting people, trying to gain support in the grassroots. I'm looking to stop the wasteful spending to help with our aging infrastructure and get the money to go towards anything that we have projects that are old that need to be addressed. And the wasteful spending and looking at the budget, I believe that we can take care of that. We can find the money to take care of all of that. Our county needs to become more proactive instead of retroactive in these needs for the infrastructure. Once again, my name is James Walker. I'm running for Okaloosa County District 1. Thank you.
That was Mr. James Walker, and those are the candidates for Okaloosa County Commission District 1. We turn now to the race for Okaloosa County Superintendent of Schools. There are 2 candidates in this race. Both are Republican. This is also a universal primary and will be open to all voters. The winner in the primary will become the Superintendent of Schools. The candidates are, in alphabetical order, Mr. Marcus D. Chambers and Mr. Ray Sansom. Mr. Chambers is not attending rally. The following questions were provided by the League of Women Voters of Okaloosa and Walton counties. Question 1. What would be your strategy to intentionally expand the promotion and hiring practices of minority support personnel, teachers, and administrators to ensure the district has a culturally diversified workforce to include staff, faculty, and administrators? Be specific. Our next question. When the pandemic forced school closure in the spring, regular public schools were not prepared to switch to distance learning. Teachers were not trained, equipment was not in place, and the Florida Virtual School, which was beset by problems before the pandemic, was not equipped to handle the surge in demand. If school cannot resume or is closed again, what is your plan to establish standards for broadband coverage, equipment, and grading, and to provide better distance learning programs to support teachers and students? We hear now from Mr. Ray Sansom.
Thank you for the question. Well, first I'll answer the question by saying what I won't do. My opponent had an opportunity to hire a minority that was a principal in our school district for an opening that he had when he was appointed to the interim superintendent for the human resource department. We had a minority principal that was qualified, that had all the certifications for the position, and he chose not to hire that person and instead hired someone that had not any human resource experience, did not meet the minimum qualifications for the job. And as a result, the minority principal that did an excellent job for our district fought a lawsuit against them for discrimination. And so that's how not to do this. What I would do specifically is to make sure that we work with our colleges and our universities with minority students. Thank you. Yeah, specifically what I would do as superintendent of schools is that the state of Florida has said that students will come back to school, the brick and mortar. And so I will make sure that with the face-to-face instruction, we'll continue on and be strong and valuable for our students, but also built into that is with our teachers within their schedule to have digital learning as well. So in the event that we have to go back and school might close, that our teachers and our students and our parents are well prepared for distance learning, much better prepared than they were before the pandemic happened. I believe as a leader, relentless preparation is everything. So we would also provide online instruction for our students and for our families and for our teachers. Unfortunately, this summer we did not do that relentless preparation, and I'm concerned, but I will work hard to make sure our students and parents are prepared.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I would like to thank WSRE for hosting Rally 2020. My main motivation for running for superintendent of schools is that I believe my leadership approach will restore confidence back into our school district. I am grateful for the trust you have shown by electing me to the Okaloosa County Commission and the Florida House of Representatives. For the last 10 years, I have managed dropout prevention schools in Northwest Florida. My leadership experience has taught me that there are times that an organization needs to hit the restart button, and I believe that time is now for Okaloosa School District. During my time in the Florida legislature, Okaloosa School District was the model for the state. I plan to reestablish our reputation and build trust of our community that we once had. Our school district saw its darkest hour during the child abuse scandal. As a result, our district bears the scars of fear and mistrust. That is why I chose It's a New Day with Ray as my campaign vision. Our new day must have a leader who brings a variety of political and educational experiences. For example, my experience as the budget chair for the Florida House will be valuable as we navigate a new budget crisis due to the coronavirus. I am convinced that if you add up all of my experiences, both political and education, I am uniquely qualified for this particular time in our school district's history. I am asking you for your vote on August 18th to bring a refreshing new day to our schools. Thank you, and it's a new day with Ray.
That was Mr. Ray Sansom, and that concludes our coverage of the Okaloosa County School Superintendent race. Now let's meet the candidates for Okaloosa County Commission District 3. There are two candidates in this race, and both are Republican. This contest is open to all voters, and the winner of the primary will become the District 3 County Commissioner. Let's meet the candidates in alphabetical order, Mr. Nathan Boyles and Mr. Brad Rarig. They were asked to respond to the following questions. In light of COVID-19 cases, since Phase 2 of the reopening commenced, what specific measures do you support to ensure public safety going forward? Please address the county responses to businesses that flaunt social distancing rules, the plan for hospital beds if we exceed capacity, and expansion of broadband access for all students if school cannot resume for the fall semester. The second question is, county sewage lift stations are failing at an alarming rate, resulting in rising bacteria levels in our bays and bayous. What is your plan to address this problem? Would you support using some of half-cent sales tax revenue to replace the lift stations? Why or why not? Be specific. We begin with Mr. Nathan Boyles.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, Okaloosa County has been working aggressively to keep our citizens as safe as we possibly can, and that goes all the way back to closing beaches when those were initially necessary. As we move forward, we're working very hard to balance the needs of keeping our economy open and understanding the real public safety concerns that come with a closed economy, and also balancing keeping individuals safe as we work forward in partnership with our sheriff's office and our medical professionals and our school districts and all of the other important governmental functions that have to come together to make these difficult decisions in difficult times. Understanding we'll do that with public safety as our number one focus. So water quality is an incredibly important issue in Okaloosa County. I would challenge the premise of the question. In fact, since August of 2018, so almost 2 years, there's been one single lift station failure in Okaloosa County's system that has resulted in a discharge into a body of water. And that discharge was somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 gallons in total. And when you put that in the context of over 5 billion gallons of sewage, which has been properly and safely treated and disposed of in an environmentally sound way, I would argue that we're actually doing very good on that front. Now, there are important infrastructure upgrades that have to be constantly maintained within those systems, and I'm proud of the work that Okaloosa County has done in investing in those systems.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
I am Nathan Boyles, B-O-Y-L-E-S. I've had the great privilege of serving over the last 8 years as the District 3 Commissioner in Okaloosa County. And though I serve within District 3, we are elected countywide, and I have striven to represent the interests of all of Okaloosa County. I believe that we've come a long way in Okaloosa County over the last 8 years. We've rebuilt trust and accountability with our constituents and our citizens. We've kept our taxes low, and we've worked aggressively to resolve some of the infrastructure issues that have been outstanding in our county for many years, whether it's with stormwater or roads and infrastructure. We're making really great progress in Okaloosa County. I'm humbly asking for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Okaloosa County one more term. If you'd like to learn more, if today's format didn't give you all the answers you need, please reach out to me. You can email me at Nathan, as in Nathan Boyles, B-O-Y-L-E-S, at myokaloosa.com.
That was Mr. Nathan Boyles. Next is Mr. Brad Rarig.
Great. Hi, my name is Brad Rarig. Thank you for having me today to answer the first question for flaunting social distancing. The way to approach that, in my opinion, is first and foremost, our business took a big hit during the virus, so we have to be really careful how we handle that. The first step is determining, I think most of the businesses are abiding by the rules, and we appreciate their efforts on it. What I would do for that flaunting of social distance, if we identify establishments that are flaunting it, what we'll do is we'll initially go by, we'll talk to the ownership, we'll look at retraining of the owners, and we're going to do steps to make sure that we don't hurt their business, but we are going to have them retrained and sign affidavit stating that they are aware of the rules, and as a last resort, we'll look at things like draconian measures of cutting back some of their resources. To address the lift stations, I'm looking at a systematic approach. First of all, I think the county has some plans underway. We just have to make sure that the resources and the funds are there. I believe that we can use the half-cent sales tax, but I don't think that's necessary right now. The plan of action: identify the worst stations, fix those first, get the funding, find the funding for it, go through and move through and make sure that the lift stations over the next couple of years are repaired. It does go to address not only the lift station problem, but the problem that we're having within the county for estuary issues, which deal with septic tanks and problems such as that. So I'd like to take a systematic approach, find the funding. I like to prefer to keep the sales tax used for roads, but at the same time, we need to address this problem because it's a health issue for the county and our visitors.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Again, thank you for having me today. My name is Brad Rurg. I'm running for County Commissioner District 3. I really need your vote on 18 August. What I plan to do in the role: goals, most importantly, economic development and grow the local economy. That's important to find jobs, bring jobs to our area. Second is infrastructure and to get rid of some of these bottlenecks. That takes vision and looking long term. How do we make sure that we don't rerun into this problem 10, 15 years from now? County optimization is a big thing for us. How do we modernize? How do we put technology in place to make it easier for the constituent to reach out and understand what the county is doing? What makes me qualified for this role? 20 years in the Air Force. I've served on complex problems, issues. We've been able to work with diverse groups to get things done, listening to people, understanding their problems. Next, have completed large projects. I've been known as a fixer. Overseas, they put me in those roles. They need things to be resolved. Spent a lot of times overseas working with host nation countries, being able to pull complex things together for the betterment of those communities. Reason why you should vote for me: this is important. The people are first to me. Your thoughts, your concerns, things that affect your daily life, that's what I'm concerned about, making sure that you are taken care of so that you can thrive wherever you're at and your families can thrive within our community. Budgets, I'm really big on budgets. I need to make sure all the numbers match. We're using all your hard-earned tax money for the right reasons. Accountability, I'm transparent. I seek transparency. I want to make sure that you are knowing what we're doing, how every penny is spent. Property owner, defender of our military community. I spent 20 years in the military, a lot of time overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. I understand military community. We need to make sure they thrive and they're doing everything they need to. In closing, I encourage you to visit my website at bradccd3.com, and I need your vote on 18 August. Please let me know if you have questions. Take care.
That was Mr. Brad Rehrig, and those are the candidates for Okaloosa County Commission District 3. We're taking a short break. When we come back, the race for Okaloosa County School Board District 2.
There are 3 ways to cast a ballot in Okaloosa County: by mail, early voting, or at your precinct on Election Day. To vote by mail, contact the Okaloosa County Supervisor of Elections office. You can write, phone, fax, email, log on to their website, or visit the Supervisor's office locations in Crestview and Shalimar. Ballots must reach the Supervisor of Elections offices by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting takes place from Saturday, August 8th through Saturday, August 15th at the 5 locations listed on screen. Hours for early voting are from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. each day. On the day of the primary election, Tuesday, August 18th, voting takes place at your polling location from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. You must vote in the precinct in which you live and are registered, and be sure to bring your photo and signature ID with you.
Welcome back to Rally 2020, a service of WSRE, PBS for the Gulf Coast. Coming up later in the program, we'll meet the candidates for Okaloosa County Commission District 5 and the candidates for Florida House of Representatives District 4. Right now, we turn our attention to the race for Okaloosa County School Board District 2. This race is open to all voters, and there are 2 candidates in this nonpartisan race. In alphabetical order, they are Miss Sherry Cox and Miss Marty Gardner. Miss Gardner is not attending rally. The two questions provided to the candidates are, in November, voters will be asked to approve a 10-year half-cent per dollar sales surtax to benefit the school district's capital needs. Considering Okaloosa County's school buildings are among the oldest in the state, what are your priorities for spending the revenue generated by the sales tax if it's approved? The next question. In light of the spike in COVID-19 cases since Phase 2 of the reopening commenced, what is the plan for safely reopening schools for the fall semester? How confident are you in the school district's ability to protect students, faculty, and staff? Here is Ms. Sherry Cox.
So this is a great question, and actually the reason that I'm running. So the schools and facilities are aging structures in Okaloosa County. It's very near and dear to my heart and to my family, as I have small children in the district. Not just, am I running to improve those schools and maintain the integrity of our school district for the generations that have followed my own. I grew up in Okaloosa County schools, but that sales tax is important because otherwise, we're forced to cut programs and everything that are so important to our kids, that are so important to retaining children in school all the way through high school and graduation, band, music, athletics, etc. Those programs are so vital to graduation, but that's really why I'm running. So that's a great question, and one that we're being asked by lots of parents and educators alike. Everybody needs to feel safe going back to school. There needs to be a specific plan in place, and there really isn't a very specific plan in place with the current outlay by the school district for how exactly the masks should be worn and the safety precautions that should be taken as far as the social distancing and masks in common areas and what have you. That really seems to be something that needs to be prioritized so that our educators feel just as safe as our kids and our parents do with getting back into those schools.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Hi, my name is Sherry Cox, and I'm running for School Board District 2 in Okaloosa County. I'm running to replace Dewey Destin, who had spent much of his time exploring the aging schools and facilities in our district. It's no secret now that our district has endured quite a bit of scandal, quite a bit of employee, teacher, and student morale problem. And we need to get back to where we were as a luxurious, prosperous, fantastic, overachieving school district that Okaloosa schools have always been. I'm hoping that in passing the school sales tax in November, that we can get back on board and back on track and really restore our district to its previous luster and shine so that our students, our teachers, our educators can each be glad and proud of the school district that they work within to educate our youth.
That was Miss Sherry Cox, and that's it for the candidates in the race for Okaloosa County School Board District 2. Now we're ready to focus on the last local Okaloosa County contest of the night, Okaloosa County Commission District 5. And there are 3 candidates in this race. All are Republican. However, this is a closed primary because there is a qualified candidate with no party affiliation. The 3 Republican candidates are, in alphabetical order, Mr. Dewey Parker Destin, Mr. Rich Johnson, and Mr. Mel Ponder. Mr. Ponder is not attending rally. Here are their questions provided by the League of Women Voters. In light of COVID-19 cases since Phase 2 of the reopening commenced, what specific measures do you support to ensure public safety going forward? Please address the county response to businesses that flaunt social distancing rules, the plan for hospital beds if we exceed capacity, and expansion of broadband access for all students if school cannot resume for the fall semester. The second question is this: county sewage lift stations are failing at an alarming rate, resulting in rising bacteria levels in our bays and bayous. What is your plan to address this problem? Would you support using some half-cent sales tax revenue to replace the lift stations? Why or why not? Be specific. We begin with Mr. Destin.
So that is an excellent question. And we know what we can control and what we can't control at the Okaloosa County Commission level. And it's important, if elected, to focus on the things that we do have within our ability to control. One of those is knowing the status of any individual who suspects that they have COVID, is to enhance testing. If the federal and the state government are going to abdicate some authority and responsibility to county commissions and local governments to handle the COVID response, then we need to be prepared to fill that gap in who has COVID, who doesn't. It's an issue for employers, it's an issue for government to know whether or not individuals have COVID. So we're going to need to dedicate resources to be able to make sure that testing is always available. It's an excellent question. One of the pillars of my campaign and one of the legislative goals of mine once I get into office is to actually enhance and prevent the degradation of our natural environment. There's under no circumstances should a day at the beach require checking a health water advisory before going. And that means handling the point sources within Okaloosa County of water degradation. Lift stations are one of those. We'll definitely have to spend money and allocate funds and resources to addressing those, addressing our broken stormwater that attaches to our sewage system, and also to deal with the fact that we have still a lot of septic tanks in Okaloosa County, and we can get those fixed with partnering with DEP, but it's something we got to fix.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Citizens of Okaloosa County, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Parker Destin, and I'm a Republican asking for your vote on August 18th to allow me to serve as your district representative on Okaloosa County Commission. I'm a sixth-generation Floridian, and I grew up on the back of my father's commercial fishing boat in Destin. And while I've spent the last several years owning and operating restaurants in Destin and Navarre, I've also been fighting for my neighbors and community while on the Destin City Council. You see, I march to my own drum, and that has meant I don't answer to special interests. I've led the charge to create a more transparent Destin government that brought the citizens back in control over the city's major decisions in Destin. The regular citizen knows why the roads don't work and the schools are bursting at the seams. It's a history of too much irresponsible growth without infrastructure improvements. We had too many years of city councils serving as rubber stamps for growth. So while as a councilman, I sponsored legislation that would put a building height cap on new developments in Destin, which would require the voters to approve anything bigger. The goal being to put citizens back in charge, not the politicians. We need pro-citizen representation on the Okaloosa County Commission that will fight to make sure future growth doesn't come with further degradation to our quality of life. We shouldn't be spending hours of our life sitting in traffic in Okaloosa County. I want the opportunity to bring the people's voice back to the commission. I want the County Commission to be in the business of taking responsibility for solving our problems. I want to restore the public's faith in our leadership. I want to put an end to the North End versus South End brand of politics that has plagued the Commission for decades and gotten us nowhere. If any of that sounds good to you, then I want you to vote for me, Parker Destin, on August 18th, and let's get to work building a better Okaloosa together. Thank you.
That was Mr. Dewey Parker Destin. Now we'll hear from Mr. Rich Johnson.
My name is Rich Johnson, and I'm running for County Commission, Okaloosa County. And first of all, thank you for giving your time today to listen to what I think we should be doing in terms of leadership in our county. Naturally, COVID is the issue. We've lost a lot of jobs. Jobs are in critical need of support so that we can get our county growing again. What would I do relative to making sure businesses don't violate the social distancing rules and things like that? Look, it's simple. It is what is within the limits of the government authority, and the government should certainly provide our citizens health risk notices and give us suggestions, but we have to live within our limits as a governmental authority, and that's what I would do as your county commissioner. Thank you. Thank you again, Rich Johnson, answering more questions. Appreciate the opportunity to have a chance to run for county commission. Look, our infrastructure is failing in our county. It's because it's been there for so long and it hasn't been kept up to date with regard to planning and discipline to get things done. What I would do is I would use a portion of the half-cent penny sales tax to increase and to repair our lift stations. They are in need of repair, and obviously our tax dollars are limited. The sales tax revenue is meant to go for infrastructure. Lift stations are a part of infrastructure, and I would spend that money on those lift stations. It is important that we protect our bays and bayous. It's important that we recognize the benefit of our natural area.
And that concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Rich Johnson. I'm running for County Commission, Okaloosa County, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Look, I do not intend to make politics a career. I just love the county that I live in, and I like the opportunity to serve the county that I live in. I've been an attorney for 25 years now. I have a title company with several offices, and I've been a residential land developer of single-family homes for about 20 years. And what does that mean? It means that I've been running my own budgets successfully, building roads successfully, dealing with infrastructure, I believe, successfully. Those qualities, though, I did not earn on my own. They were given to me by my Creator, and I hope to use them as best of my abilities. And I also know that whatever it is that I've been able to do for the last 25 years, I wasn't able to do on my own. I want to work with people, I want to have a cooperative government, and I want to know what the citizens ask for. Look, our local beaches need to have better access by our local citizens, the entire county. Wouldn't it be good if the citizens had maybe 2 or 3 reserved spots on our public parking areas? Wouldn't it be a good idea if we had a sports recreation center for all of our community to use? And wouldn't it be a good idea if we didn't have traffic problems going back and forth from Crestview in the morning and in the evening? I believe that I can be a part of solving those problems with the team that's already in place. I'd appreciate the opportunity to work for you, the citizens of Okaloosa County. I'm Rich Johnson, County Commission, Okaloosa County. I'd appreciate your vote on August 18th. I do appreciate the time today. And hopefully, if you'd like to get to know me better, please look at my website, www.richforcommish, or go to my Facebook account. We have regular updates. Anybody's welcome to contact me through those mediums. Thank you so much, Rich Johnson for County Commissioner.
That was Mr. Rich Johnson, and those are the candidates for Okaloosa County Commission District 5. Our final race of the night is next after this break. Florida House of Representatives, District 4.
There is nothing more important to our democratic process than having an informed electorate voting on Election Day. Good evening. I am Ed Meadows, President of Pensacola State College, thanking you for tuning into this rally, a joint presentation of the League of Women Voters, WSRE-TV, and Pensacola State College. Rally allows you the opportunity to watch and listen as this election year's slate of candidates answer the tough questions concerning the needs of our community. WSRE, a service of Pensacola State College, is proud to bring this program to you as a public service. And as always, we invite your comments and suggestions about how we can further fulfill our community obligations. Let's all remember the importance of participating in the governance process by voting in the upcoming election.
Finally tonight, we turn to the race for Florida House of Representatives District 4. This district covers a portion of Okaloosa County. There are 4 candidates on the ballot. All are Republican. In alphabetical order, the candidates are Ms. Sandra L. Atkinson from Fort Walton Beach, Mr. Jeff Hinkle from Destin, Mr. Pat Maney of Shalimar, and Mr. Jonathan Michael Tallman of Niceville. All the candidates are Republican. Mr. Hinkle and Mr. Maney are not attending rally. The remaining candidates responded to the following questions provided by the League of Women Voters. The first question is, how would you fix Florida's broken unemployment system to both provide a more generous stipend to those involuntarily unemployed and to ensure they get the benefits they are due in a timely manner? The second question is, Florida in general and Okaloosa County in particular are characterized by beautiful beaches and other natural wonders that attract both residents and tourists. Since state revenue is decreasing sharply as a result of the pandemic, environmental priorities are under threat. What is your plan to protect the Panhandle from fracking, specifically matrix acidizing, and what will you do to encourage the DEP to clean up contamination sites in Okaloosa County, such as those in the Sylvania Heights neighborhood? We begin with Ms. Atkinson.
Well, to ensure that they get their benefits in a timely manner, I think we need to upgrade our unemployment system. It's not user-friendly. I remember back in, I think it was 2008, President Bush, he implemented myflorida.com. So we need to upgrade that system to 2020 because it's not, 2008 anymore. And as far as increasing the stipend, I don't think that would be a good idea. I mean, they're already getting, the folks are already getting 60% of their regular pay that they were receiving. And I think studies have shown that if you increase it, it's going to make folks not want to go back to work. As far as cleaning up I think this question was proposed prior to Governor DeSantis signing legislation for accountability within that pertains to our environment, our waterways. So he implemented fines on a daily basis for those that pollute our waterways. As far as fracking goes, I am not your typical Republican. I'm against fracking, but it's not actually happening in my district. I think the closest would be over in Jay, and they're actually not doing any fracking and haven't for a long time. I am against offshore drilling. We need to make sure our waters are available for our military and they stay pure for our tourists.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Hello, my name is Sandra Atkinson, and I'm wanting to be your next Republican state representative for District 4, so I'm asking for your vote on August 18th. My website is voteforsandra.com, and my phone number is 621-6242. An easy way to remember that is the last four numbers are MAGA, just like Make America Great Again. I think I would be the best state representative for this district because I'm a hardworking, honest, hardcore constitutionalist. I've been living and breathing politics for the past 8 years. I've served our country in the military. I've been overseas. I can see the negative effects of overreaching government and the taking away of their rights. And I've been noticing that some of our rights are being taken away, such as our Second Amendment gun rights. And I want to repeal the red flag law. It's 100% unconstitutional. And as you know, the Panhandle has a large population of retired military, and our senior citizens are getting abused and exploited, and I want to put an end to that and strengthen our laws by implementing something similar to Jessica's law. I also want to protect our environment and keep this a business-friendly district. I would ask for your vote on August 18th. If you're tired of politics as usual and going along to get along, I would be the one you would want to vote for. Again, my name is Sandra Atkinson, and my website is voteforsandra.com, and I'm asking for your vote on 18 August. It's on a Tuesday. See you at the polls.
That was Miss Sandra L. Atkinson. Now we'll hear from Mr. Jonathan Michael Tallman.
Well, look, I think Ron DeSantis has done a fantastic job during this COVID-19 pandemic. One of the things that we've seen here with this pandemic is that we've received as a state more than 3 years of claims in 1 week. And so technology is definitely important. We need to upgrade our technology, our infrastructure system, and then utilize employees that are non-essential to help process those claims in an emergency type situation. As far as the Savina Heights neighborhood, definitely support mitigation and cleaning up that dump site there. As far as the county as a whole, I believe that we need to be good stewards of our environment. I believe God created the environment and we need to be good stewards. And so looking at things like our sewage systems, our stormwater infrastructure, we need to be good stewards of the environment going forward. And one of the things that I want to focus on in the House is bringing $50 million to our county and working with the partnership to help with stormwater runoff, and will help clean up our bayous and bays and prevent raw sewage from flowing into our bayous and bays.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Hi, I'm conservative Republican Jonathan Tallman. I want to bring conservative values and principles to Tallahassee. Every single day we have over 1,000 people moving to our state, and they're rapidly changing the demographics of our state. We've gone from a conservative Republican state to more of a moderate state. And my fear is we're going to turn into a blue state if we're not careful. I want to go to Tallahassee to stand up for our rights and our freedoms and our liberty. I'm genuinely concerned about the future of our state and the state that we leave to our children and their children going forward. So I want to make a multi-generational impact on the state of Florida. I want to stand up for things like the Second Amendment. I'm a life member of the NRA, and I'll always stand up for the Second Amendment. I'm 100% pro-life and want to focus on that issue as well and making abortion illegal in the state of Florida. I want to stand up against illegal immigration and hold cities accountable that aren't following the current laws. Also want to focus on education, infrastructure, stormwater management, and just really look at how we could bring a business perspective to state government. I'm a financial advisor, and I want to bring that business perspective to state government. As far as some of the things that I want to focus on, one is being accessible to people. I always want to be accessible and reachable to folks. My personal cell phone number, 850-830-4110. If you got a question for me, you want to know where I'm at on policy, or you have a way to make state government more efficient, pick up the phone and call me, 850-830-4110. I'd love to hear from you.
That was Mr. Jonathan Michael Tallman, and those are the candidates for State Representative District 4. And that wraps up our final race of the night. We want to thank you for watching, and also our thanks to the League of Women Voters for their participation in this program, and of course to Pensacola State College.
Rally 2020 will return in October, when you can meet the candidates running for office in the general election. We hope you will join us again right here on WSRE-TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast.
And remember, you can watch the candidate statements on our website or on YouTube. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.